Of Proverbs, verse 35. The wise inherit honor, but fools get only shame. Okay, so how's everybody going? This is Christian RPG Gamers. So this is some background footage, I think, when I was playing some of Skyrim. Okay, so for this video, I wanted to talk about both why I like the Elder Scrolls, and then maybe some of my hopes for the Elder Scrolls 6 when it finally comes out. Okay. So over the years, I've played so I started by playing Oblivion, and then Oblivion had their DLCs. And I played Skyrim, and they had their DLCs. And then I've also played I played Elder Scrolls Online, and then they make like a new version of what they call like a new map area, like maybe once a year. Sometimes they make a couple areas per year, but there's usually at least one big DLC for the Elder Scrolls Online every year. And sometimes their big DLC, or like not even like a DLC, but just a new expansion. Sometimes it can be broken down to like 3 separate parts. But there's a lot of cool stuff in this game, or within this genre world. And I do want to I want to try to put some kind of a Christian perspective on this, but it's like I don't want to force a narrative at the same time. But I'll try to put something Christian on this, or some kind of a perspective on it, right? And so they also made some kind of a, I think they made a trading card game at one point, and they also had it was called Blades, and I think they also have a new trading card game inside ESO, which I've yet to play, but it intrigues me. I think it's within the High Isles. So overall, I do think this is a very cool genre, and I mean, I've always been a huge fan of probably most of the probably the more modernized core Bethesda games. I've always just generally had a pretty strong love and fondness towards them, and like Fallout is one of my favorite franchises, and I do like this franchise quite a bit too. I also think Starfield's pretty cool. So yeah, those are just some of like the starting initial thoughts. And then I know at some point I believe that Bethesda is working on the Elder Scrolls 6, and again, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not 100% certain when it's really gonna come out. I think it's supposed to come out probably within the next maybe 2 to 3 years. They're gonna start. I know at some point they're gonna start by releasing a couple more of their trailer videos for it, and again, they're probably gonna talk about it a little bit more. I mean, I know they've released a couple videos, but not a whole lot on it yet. They haven't really shown too much about it. But I mean, at some point it's going to start coming up. So, I mean, I think within the next maybe 2 to 3 years, that's when we can probably hope to expect it. I don't know if it's going to come out within the next 3 years, but I mean, we're going to start seeing, some of the early signs for it. And then eventually they'll put a release date down. So I do think we should probably temper our expectations for the game, but I also do think we should try to have high hopes for stuff. It's like, I don't know, expecting low. I mean, the most you could. I mean, if it comes out it's kind of like crap, then your expectations weren't really hurt too bad. But I also think if you never have any expectations for anything, then it's like having faith, right? Sometimes you should have faith because you want a return on your faith. You got to be willing to try, even if that means you do fail and get nothing, or it's not that great, but because sometimes you do. So yeah, so what are some of the things that I like about the Elder Scrolls? So so there's the objective world themselves. So generally you start out as like a prisoner of some place. They give you like, you're in regs, and eventually you get like a basic weapon. And you start out in the world, and usually it's not definitive as to who or what you are. But it's like, why were you a prisoner or in regs? It doesn't, it's subjective and left up to you, the player, why you were in the situation that you were in the first place. And then eventually you get free. Usually, I guess like here could be some examples of like the Christian faith, right? Like, the right hand of God. Maybe he puts you into prison and you were there for a while, or your memories got erased or something, right? Or maybe you were a criminal and you did a bunch of bad behavior, and that's why you were there. But God in heaven, he has some great he has some kind of a plans for you, or some kind of a purpose for your life. And then then you get a chance. You're given an opportunity, and then you get freed from your prison, and you get to go out and go on this great adventure. And you get a weapon. You get the ability to have some experience points, and then again you got to prove your mettle, prove your worth, and then you fight through a couple of some basic enemies, and then you get some more loot. Then you have to fight a few more enemies. And it's not always the easiest of a start. And then you get some basic level equipment, and then you get some stuff, you get some loot, some experience points, and you meet some friends, you get out of your little dungeon area, and then I guess you're free to explore the world. And this is just a very fun idea. So it's like a very rags from riches kind of a story. You start out with nothing, and then you can become someone great. It's like you're given another opportunity in life to do something amazing. And maybe you'll fail, and maybe you'll succeed, but sometimes that's like the idea of life. It's like, in Holy God in heaven, he sows seeds into people's lives, or he just sows seeds out there. And on some levels, you are one of his seeds. And, are you going to make value, or you're not going to make value with your life? And some people will succeed, and some people will fail. It's a harsh truth, but it's kind of just the way life is. And then again, eventually, you get access to you can pick one of the major factions you can join. Or you can find some friends or some adventurers in the world. And there's a lot of different moral dilemmas. You could be a good person, you could be an evil person. Like the Elder Scrolls, it has a lot of subjective storytelling and moral choices. Again, you can join the Fighters Guild, become an adventurer. You can seem to be an honest, decent, good person. At the same time, the game gives you a lot of freedom. And you could join the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood, and you could just be a bad person. And maybe you're given this great opportunity, and you use it for self-serving evil. And eventually that kind of pathway will lead you to hell. Or you can go down the good road, and that pathway will lead you to heaven, or the good way, right? Obviously, it's only through the blood of Christ is the only way to heaven. So you have to believe in the gospel, but it's just the idea. There's the good road, and then there's the evil road. And again, you go through the world, and again, you can make a great name for yourself, and you can help people who are along the way. You can work to make money yourself, and again, you can join up with different factions, have different friends. All sorts of different ideological values you can choose to go for. There's different skills you can invest in. And it's kind of like, you make your own pathway. And I think, again, like, generally most of these stories, they are all kind of linked and affiliated and associated to each other in some way, shape, or form. Like both Oblivion. Like Skyrim takes place about 200 years after Oblivion, and I think you got like Elder Scrolls Online. And that game has its own time frame within the lore. And then in ESO, you also have the ability to meet other players. Like, you don't have to journey alone. And then also, and then I gotta look. There's the hope for the new game too, right? So I guess, like, as like a Christian, so what are some of the things that we should hope for? I think, for the new game, I do think we should hope that they try to put more, like, moral good opportunities for people to play, and then, like, maybe they could put, like, a couple more factions in the world. They could put, like, maybe like and I know Christianity isn't correct, but they could make like a ranger style guild, so people can use, like, bow and arrow. And I know there's a fighters guild, and there's kind of like an adventures guild already. They could make an adventure style guild, make it more official, so that way, because it's good to have more neutral factions, and they could try to make some more righteous groups of people, like, kind of like just like a holy, maybe like a Paladin Templar kind of a guild, or just our faction that you can kind of join. And yeah, so they could have, like, like an archery one. They could have, like, more of like a paladin one. They could have an adventuring one. I know they have the fighters guild. They also have the companions. They could bring back the fighters guild. They could find a couple new areas that are just more wholesome, right? Because, like, I know they have the evil factions, because those are generally a bad thing. Like stealing and murdering, and honestly, even like sorcery is also a bad thing too. Just objectively. So they could try to make some more, like, good factions, and, like, good moral choices you can make, and maybe make some more I don't know, just some more, like, more God-fearing, like, Christian things you could do within the world. And they can also, like, offer some, I don't know, just some hypothetical ideas, right? I don't know. I guess you gotta hope that they want to make something great for their game. But, like, I do feel like, I feel like I am looking forward to this game. But my only really big complaint about it is that it's just taking them forever. Like, Skyrim, I think it came out like 2013. Now it's going on 2025. It's been forever since they've made the next game, right? But like, it could be really good, and it could be. And I think I'm gonna choose to believe that it's gonna be successful and be good. And, like, again, like, I think it's probably gonna have a pretty decent main story. There's probably gonna be a lot of stuff that we're gonna be able to do in the game. That'll be a lot of fun. I do hope that they add a few more skill trees, or, again, like, they could take some of the stuff from, like, some of their other games. And maybe I honestly, I hope they add some more non-magic related stuff. Or they find some more holy stuff that you can put in there, or some more honorable stuff. I think that would be a net positive, but you never know, right? But yeah, overall, again, like, I do have a lot of fun playing ESO, and they are, again, they are making brand new stories every single year. Like, there's just big expansions every year. I think that is a net positive for the game, because it allows people to continuously it allows the game to continue to grow, and it also allows it to continue to exist, and like the player base is going to stick around. Because if you stop making, you know, updates and expansions and stuff for content, you know, people have no real reason to continue to play it, right? I mean, unless it's like a single player offline game. Some people really like specific games, and they might come back eventually, but with like an MMO, people will keep coming back every single year as long as you keep making good content. And there are quite a few interesting stories of like the newer expansions. And like, I mean, I've been going on like, you know, like on YouTube a few times. I've been watching some videos, some walkthroughs of some of the old content. Not even old content, just like just content that exists. And I've been having a good time. Like, I've watched through some of the stories. I think I was watching through some of the Breton area. I think they call it like the High Isles. So I was watching some of that. Because I like the whole like knights and stuff, and they had their conflicts between, you know, all their issues. So I mean, I've just about finished that main story, but I still got a little bit more to go. And I mean, like, I do really like ESO, and like, you know, obviously Oblivion is just a crazy good game, and I like Skyrim. The only problem is Skyrim gets kind of old, and I mean, like, I do like it, but I mean, like, it's like you kind of beat a dead horse eventually too. But I still, overall, I do have a pretty strong positive experience with Skyrim. And then, like, you know, again, like in ESO, again, like, they do have a whole bunch of new cool bosses you can fight, and again, like, they make some new sets, some new they make a brand new map you can go down. Sometimes they give you some new skills or some new special thing in the world. And like, it is overall, I think honestly, I think it's one of the best MMOs, especially if you like playing like a single player MMO. So that's a very net positive, I think, overall. But yeah, like, I mean, I do like the Elder Scrolls quite a bit. So yeah, I mean, I do hope they don't screw up the new game. I think it'll be good though. I think once we start seeing some footage from it, or see some of the story, I think people are probably, I mean, look, the internet's always gonna be mad, but I do think there's gonna be quite a few people who are, I think there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna enjoy Elder Scrolls 6 quite a bit. I mean, I'm sure there'll be criticisms and anger about it or whatever, but I think overall it's gonna probably be a pretty good game. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite of the fantasy franchises and genres that are out there. I mean, I do like fantasy, but I mean, I'm really only into, I think, like, a handful of the more fantasy genres. Like, this is definitely one of them. Like, there are other ones out there that exist, but this is probably one of my favorite ones. But some of this stuff, it's subjective at the end of the day. But like, I do like Elder Scrolls quite a bit. So I guess in the comment section below, what are some of your thoughts about the Elder Scrolls, and which Elder Scrolls is your favorite, and what are some of your hopes for what they call the Elder Scrolls 6, and which of the ESO expansions or the areas and the maps or the characters are your favorite, or what is your favorite faction? What is your favorite faction? And yeah, like, what hopes do you have for the franchise, or do you think there is any? And what do you like doing in the, like, Skyrim or something? And, oh yeah, also again, like oh yeah, also they are making a. No, it's with mods. Apparently they're making like what called like Sky Oblivion. I think that's supposed to come out sometime with like the next year. And I think they made a big mod for Skyrim. It's called like Lorium. And I've seen that. I was watching one of my streamers I like watching. He was playing through it. It definitely looks really good. So like I mean they're getting a lot of they still get quite a bit of support. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Again, like I am trying to be more positive, I think, for the channel. So I mean, going forward, I mean, I try to be a little more upbeat or more positive, and just try to focus on some more of the good stuff. Obviously, you know, sometimes you got to be negative though too. It is what it is. But overall, I do feel like for the channel going forward, I mean, I like to just try to be a little more, just trying to focus more on the good stuff and focus less on the bad stuff. You know, like if at all possible. But yeah, I appreciate you watching this. Have a good day. You know, God is good.